as we know it, a familiar pattern of shapes as the great continents sprawl across our planet, the planet we call Earth. A solid enough name, but in fact, on closer inspection, the Earth's surface proves to be 7/10 water. Closer still to a small island, part of the main landmass, and on its northwest coast, a tiny inlet. Compared with the vast waters of the enveloping oceans, little more than a tiny drop. Yet this stretch of water has worldwide significance for men who challenge the sea. It is called the Mersey, and from this pulsating heart of ships and shipbuilding, a life-giving stream of vessels has been pumped into the arteries of the world's sea lanes for more than 130 years. Inseparably coupled with the Mersey is the name Laird, for it was the astute and far-sighted William Laird who first realized the unlimited potentialities of the Mersey and who founded the world-famous shipyards of Cammell Laird. It was here that he began to build iron ships and got the first overseas order from a North American company in 1834. For nearly a century and a half, ships of every class and tonnage have been launched from these yards. Names like Rodney, Achilles, Ark Royal, the graceful Mauritania, the Prince of Wales. All have borne the Laird tradition to the four corners of the world. Submarines too, calling for special skills and techniques which permit no margin of error in construction and installation when the slightest undetected flaw could imperil the safety of the vessel and the lives of her crew. So, from the hazards beneath the ocean to speed, pleasure and luxury on the surface, the Windsor Castle, one of the most modern trans-ocean liners of our time. For the launching by Her Gracious Majesty Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, the whole shipyard turned out in force. And with the full and enthusiastic support of their families and friends, they gave their royal visitor a truly royal welcome. For them, a day to remember, and a day to be proud of. As the sleek giant gathers speed and almost eagerly takes to her natural element, her beautiful lines and progressive construction are plain evidence of the superlative design and craftsmanship that brought her into being. She bears the unmistakable hallmark of generations of shipbuilding experience and know-how. So, from the small beginnings, the founder's dream has become reality. Now, the vast shipyards and engineering works form the basis of life for a thriving time. The fine and progressive town of Birkenhead will always stand as eloquent proof of William Laird's far-sightedness. The many thousands of men now employed in these yards can hardly imagine the vast expansion which has taken place since those early days. Today, only a scale model can give a clear and adequate picture of these great shipyards. On this, the size and expanse of the new shipbuilding shops becomes apparent. The slipways, the fitting out basin, the dry docks, including the great new dock. Even a glimpse over the roofs of the new shops, covering 11.5 acres, fails to convey their true size. Here, the work of prefabrication in large sections can go on unhindered by bad weather, the traditional enemy of men who build ships. Steel plate is conveyed from the plate storage bay by powered conveyor. The plate manipulators position the plate to enter the shot blasting cabinet, which then receives a protective coat of quick-drying paint immediately on emerging. After being leveled in the giant rollers, it continues its journey to become part of a section which may be anything up to 100 tons when completed. Handled with ease by the overhead crane, it's moved across the workshops and lowered into position for marking off and cutting. Some plates have to be shaped, directed by a craftsman whose skill and experienced eye ensure a fine degree of accuracy. Finally, into the hands of the welders for assembly into a complete section. To handle these huge sections, the company has installed two monster 100-ton cranes. Towering 300 feet above the slipway, they form a Merseyside landmark as high as a Statue of Liberty. Giant section by giant section, the hull of the new ship takes shape. An 85-ton boiler is lifted into the hull in one operation on the slipway. Gradually, the lines of the ship become apparent, and soon the 67-ton bow section is swung into place. The day of launching, a 65,000-ton tanker, the Sepia. The great mass of steel that for months has stood on the slipway, known only by a number, has now become a living entity, a ship to be proud of. Built for Holland, she is one more ship in the vast fleet which has left this basin to sail under the flags of all nations. From China to Chile, from Portugal to Peru, these yards have built ships for owners in most countries in the world. Fine ships need fine men to build them, and here is bred a special type. These men are tough, jealous of their tradition, sure of their progress, and proud of their ships. The experience of generations guides the hands that carry out the work in these shipyards. It is no uncommon sight to see a grandfather, father, and son working side by side. One family alone can claim to have contributed a total of over 160 years of unbroken service to the company. These men have one aim, that every vessel leaving their slipways shall bear witness to the quality and dignity of their labor. Shipbuilding and engineering walk hand in hand. Here, in the engineering shops, the same high standard of quality is maintained. Such is the potential of these shops that work can be undertaken for other engineering companies who do not have the facilities or the techniques available here. Notable among the achievements of the engineers is their ability to construct the high-precision gearing needed for the transmission linkage between a ship's engine and her propellers. Comparatively few companies are competent to do this work. Every facet of engineering concerned with driving power and the transmission of that power is carried out in these shops. Whatever the work, infinite care and constant supervision is apparent at every stage. A high degree of manual skill and craftsmanship is needed in the individual fitting of turbine rotor blades. The blades themselves are submitted to minute scrutiny in the testing laboratories, an essential process applied to all vital parts. From the engine shop to the boiler shop. Here, the gear cases are fabricated. Here also, huge ship's boilers are built, each containing many hundred feet of steam tubing and required to conform to absolute safety standards. A Scotch boiler is seen ready for treatment in the great annealing furnace. Careful inspection continues at all stages of ship construction, and in the shipyard laboratory, steel work and welding are constantly checked by the latest precision instruments to ensure high quality of materials and workmanship. As in any other industry, much of the success depends on design. This half-block model is a scale replica of the shape of a hull developed by the design office. The model is used to prepare the plan from which shell plating will be worked and to lift the sizes and quantities of steel required from the mills. Accuracy is essential in this work, and supervision and checking is constant at every stage. Even in this age of electronic computers, this is still the most accurate method of obtaining this information. Progress demands progress. Now, microphotography is called into use. 1/10 scale drawings of great accuracy are prepared, often involving extremely complex shapes. These drawings are then photographed to produce 100th scale negatives. The negative is now used as the master control of an electronically operated profiling machine, the monopole. Translating the micronegative to full size, each profiling machine can now cut 2 plates at once, following the most intricate pattern with absolute accuracy. The progressive thinking of the company is further evidenced in their research into the use of nuclear power. Technicians and designers have long been engaged in the study of problems concerning hull construction for the nuclear-powered ships of the future. There are some skills, however, that science cannot replace. One of these is the inborn craftsmanship of the woodworker. And it is here, in the joiners' workshops, that the beauty and comfort found inside a ship is created. Again, pride of workmanship is always apparent. In the luxurious interior of the Windsor Castle, the end product of that kind of workmanship can be seen and enjoyed. The spacious lounge. The cocktail bar. The card room with its unique tented ceiling. Few hotels in the world can boast appointments like these. A shipyard is most often thought of as a place where new ships are born. But it is also the place where old ships come to be given a new lease of life, where they're cleaned and refitted. Here too, crippled ships are made whole again. The repair facilities of these yards are second to none. No demand is too great, no job too small, and no problem posed that remains unsolved. The solving of problems also belongs in the daily life of the tug, the fussy little maid-of-all-work without whom no shipyard basin is complete. Upon the tug depends the safety of every helpless, newborn giant that slides off the slipway. But they too owe their existence to the parent yard. As indeed do a wide variety of ships of every size, shape and complexity. The cable repair ship Retriever, the most modern of her kind afloat and a typical example of the company's answer to a challenging project. Built into her is everything the ingenuity of the designers could devise for her job, her safety and the comfort of her crew. Everybody turns out for a launching, whether the ship be large or small, like this new ferryboat Overchurch. Tugs, cable repair ships, ferryboats. There's a saying in these yards, if it floats, we can build it. To prove this claim, HMS Devonshire, Britain's first guided missile destroyer. And for her, a royal launching by Her Royal Highness Princess Alexandra. Royal weather for the occasion too. And a happy greeting for the men who built this latest of modern warships. The moment of launching. And there she goes, adding her name to an already impressive list of historical fighting ships that have left these slipways for service with our own Navy and the navies of many other countries all over the world. Built for the Admiralty, the Devonshire specifications are still on the secret list. But from her fine lines and the impression of latent strength and speed, it's obvious she's a powerful addition to the Royal Navy. and cutting into the bank of the Mersey begin yet another great project born of the shrewd and far-sighted thinking of the company. This is the building of a new dock. They have bulldozed and drilled for many months to gouge out an artificial inlet 950 feet long and 140 feet wide. Associated with the new dock is the new tanker cleaning berth. It enables tankers to be cleaned and gas-freed after they've discharged their cargo at the Mersey oil discharging berths. This, in turn, means repair work can be undertaken immediately so that the shipyard is maintaining its tradition for always providing first-class service to owners. The opening of the new dock, the Princess Dock, by Her Royal Highness Princess Alexandra. A momentous event in the history of this famous firm. The Overchurch, as the latest Mersey ferryboat to be built by the company, has the honour of bringing the Princess into the dock. On landing, Her Royal Highness is presented with a bouquet by the daughter of one of the shipyard workers. The Princess unveils a plaque to commemorate the event, which also marks the completion of the reconstruction program of this great shipyard. Capable of accommodating tankers of over 100,000 tons, it is the largest privately owned dry dock in the United Kingdom. Few shipyards in the world can lay claim to a dock of this size. Provision has also been made for extending it still further, should future requirements make it necessary. The spirit of a great shipyard can never be expressed in terms of an individual, a piece of machinery, or any one thing. The yard is the mother and father of every vessel which comes under its care. To feel for its ships, the shipyard must itself have a living, progressive personality. So while these ships, secure in their origin, sail far and wide across the oceans of the world, the shipyard is also searching for and finding a new horizon.